In the 1970s, a young man set on trial for some of the most inhuman crimes we would ever get to see. Rape, violence, and murder were the defining features of his story. He was a sinner. He had sinned against man and nature. He was the ultimate monster. He had murdered over 30 young women, strangled some, decapitated others, kept the heads of some for a while in his apartment. There is no disagreement about any of this. He said it himself in his own words and gave so much details that the detectives could barely keep pace with the details. Sentencing him to death in an electric chair, Judge Edward Cowart said, quote, "These killings were indeed heinous, atrocious, and cruel, and they were extremely wicked, shockingly evil, and a product of the design to inflict a high degree of pain and utter indifference to human life." You might like to think that the story ends there. It doesn't. Our story, dear viewer, starts now. Our psychopath hero had raped, strangled, and murdered more than 30 women, and by now, there was clear evidence supporting these claims. But somehow he still received letters, and interestingly, most of those letters were love letters, and even nudes by young women, in which they would express their endless love for our hero. Further, young women would attend his court trials in hundreds, some traveling from across the country for this sacred purpose. Many would testify in court in his favor, either truly convinced of his innocence or deeply moved by his charm. Don't forget, viewers, that it was all happening in the presence of an undeniable evidence of his crimes. Decades later, at a Chinese platform called TikTok, teenage girls would resurrect him. They would act out being his victims or being him, recreating the danger, the charm, the kill for an audience of millions. Some girls would talk about how intensely they wish he was alive today, that they would be his girlfriend. The sinner of our video, dear viewer, is Theodore Robert Bundy, famously known as Ted Bundy, and this is an investigation of the psychopathic charm, how it works, and why we fall for it. Psychopaths are great seducers, greater at seduction than you and than us. Hundreds of case studies, courtrooms, and historical events make it evident. Charm, a form of seduction, is widely claimed to be natural to them. In 1941, a psychiatrist named Hervey Cleckley sat down and did something no one had properly done before. He wrote out, trait by trait, what a psychopath actually looks like up close. It was a list of 16 traits, and near the very top of that list sits one word, charm. Cleckley called it superficial charm, and the word superficial is doing more work than it looks like. It doesn't mean weak or thin or easily seen through, it means surface. Charm as the very first layer of them, the layer that requires no warm-up, no nerves, no getting to know you before it switches on. Where the rest of us have to relax into being likable, a psychopath simply is likable. Instantly, the way some people are simply tall. This is the part that's easy to misunderstand. It isn't a technique, it's a state. Ask anyone who studied a room full of psychopathic offenders, and you'll hear the same thing again and again. Psychopaths don't charm you because they're trying to get something from you, at least not in the first. They charm you because charm is simply what happens when they open their mouths. If seduction is the art of making someone feel good, special, and loved by embodying their ideal, playing to their fears and fantasies, psychopaths are consummate seducers. Victims frequently describe the fall of their defenses in the face of the compelling appeal of the psychopath to their hearts. One survivor put it plainly, quote, "The sun shines on you, and it's glorious, that's the sensation. Not warmth exactly, but light, focused, total, undivided attention, aimed at you and only you, for as long as it takes. Every question he asks sounds like it's the only question that matters. Every laugh lands like it was earned, not given. You start to feel less like you're being spoken to, and more like you're being read, closely, hungrily, as though you were the one interesting book left in a very long life of dull ones. There is no fidgeting toward the door, no glancing at a phone, no distraction competing for the room, just you expanding to fill the entire space of his attention, because for once, nothing is pulling it away. Now you tell me, in a world of half conversations and divided glances, who would not fall for this exciting adventure, or for the simple idea of it? Would you not fall? Psychopaths are well known to be acute observers, ever so acutely observing for the hunt. They have this unmatched sharpness to the eye to see and recognize vulnerabilities in a person. Once seen, exploiting those vulnerabilities become a seductive weapon. To gauge the sharpness of their eye, look at this experiment. Researchers once showed a group of men a set of short, silent video clips of strangers filmed from behind, simply walking down the street. There was nothing else in the clip, no faces, no voices, no context. The men were asked one question for each clip: how easy would this person be to rob? Some of the strangers on screen had, in fact, been victimized before, others hadn't. The men had no way of knowing which was which, no way, except watching how a body moves through space. The results were unsettling. The men who scored highest on psychopathic traits were also the most accurate. Reading real, prior victimization of a stranger's gait, from a few seconds of silent footage, better than anyone else in the room. Later, the same experiment was run again inside a maximum security prison on inmates already scoring high on the clinical measure for psychopathy. The results held. The most psychopathic men in the room were also the sharpest hunters. Psychopaths are exceptionally good with first impressions. While their confidence and charm might fade away with repeated exposure, exposing the falseness of their nature, they are almost always rated high on first impressions. And finally, the psychopath's inability to feel love only makes it easier for him to perform the acts of love even more convincingly. Their lack of emotion, in other words, adds into the clarity of his vision. Consider this. How does a true lover look like from the inside? He is riddled with fears. He is afraid because true love never comes alone. It comes bundled with fear. Fear of losing them, fear of not being enough, fear of saying the wrong thing at the wrong time. And that fear, dear viewer, never sits quietly in the background. It leaks into everything. It makes people hesitate before they say it back. It makes them jealous, insecure, occasionally clumsy at the exact moment they most want to seem sure of themselves. Now take all that away. He is not afraid of losing you because there is nothing in him that would actually be lost. He does not fumble the words because there is no trembling underneath them to fumble. He is not distracted by his own doubt because he has none. There was never anything at stake for him to doubt in the first place. What you receive in place of real love's uncertainty is something that looks like its opposite: total steadiness, total conviction, a performance with no nerves in it, because nerves only exist where there is something real to lose. So there he is, our psychopath, playing the game of charm, and he is by far better at it than we ever could. But better at what exactly? We have been describing what it feels like to receive it. We have not yet asked what it costs him to give it, or whether give is even the right word for something that never had to leave his hands at all. He never actually gave you anything though. Giving costs something. It moves from one hand to another. But nothing moved in his case. The steadiness, the certainty, the fearlessness we just praised, all of it stayed exactly where it was, inside him, the whole time. What you received wasn't his love. It was a very good rendering of one, produced without the real thing ever needing to exist. While a psychopath can charm with the intensity of an ideal, his desire is a lie. His "I love you" is nothing more than a mathematical value in his calculations. No matter how convincing the mask is, it still is a mask. A psychopath can be motivated by many things: money, status, control. But it is often said that often the sheer thrill of playing the game is their greatest reward. This is the feeling of being able to play someone innocently unaware of the game. In fact, there is a name for this feeling. Psychologists call it duping delight. The private thrill of pulling something off while the other person has no idea it's happening at all. You've probably felt a small version of this yourself once or twice, some harmless lie gotten away with, and the strange little satisfaction that came with it. For a psychopath, that satisfaction isn't a side effect. It might be the whole engine, but how does he do it? How does someone incapable of feeling something project it to such convincing effect? And more than that, what does he look like from within? Not the mask, not the performance we've already taken apart, the thing underneath it, if indeed there is a thing underneath it at all. The answer to our first question is very plain. While a psychopath might not feel an emotion, he understands it. It's like he doesn't feel what you are feeling, but he knows it. It's the purely intellectual kind of understanding of emotions. A good account of the difference between understanding a feeling and feeling it comes from Dr. James Blair. His research draws a hard line between two kinds of empathy: cognitive empathy and affective empathy. While affective empathy is the kind of empathy that makes us wince when someone else gets hurt, for instance, cognitive empathy is the purely intellectual understanding of what another person thinks, wants, or fears. Here is the key to our question. They understand and practice to mimic these emotions all their life, and the observing nature and their practical spirit make it easier for them to mimic these human emotions effortlessly. They cannot feel something, but they have learned to appear to be feeling it. But what does a psychopath, this mysterious monster, look like from within? That, my dear, is a story for another video. For the purposes of this video, let's ask a relevant question. Why do we fall for the mathematical love of the psychopath? Internally, he remains then a mystery. We'll leave him one for now. But there is a question sitting right in front of us that doesn't require solving him at all, one that's arguably more urgent, because it isn't about him, it's about us. Why do we fall for it? Why does the mathematical love of a psychopath work on people who are, by every other measure, intelligent, cautious, and sensible? Not once in some rare moment of weakness, but again and again, across centuries, across continents, in courtroom after courtroom. We are built to fall for the lies of the psychopath, not because we're foolish or careless or blind to warning signs, simply because seduction is seduction. And as we've already seen, a psychopath performs it better than the rest of us ever could. We love to be seduced. As the great author Robert Greene, who studied the intricacies of desire in great detail, put it plainly, quote, "Seduction is a form of deception, but people want to be led astray. They yearn to be seduced." But what explains the pull these teenage girls feel toward the sinner? Part of it is our natural appetite for risk and danger. We enjoy the thrill, the sheer nearness of danger. And there's real science behind why that thrill so easily gets mistaken for something else. A racing heart from fear and a racing heart from desire feel chemically almost identical, and the mind, searching for an explanation for its own pounding pulse, will happily borrow the nearest one available. Standing next to real danger, arousal shows up, and it doesn't come labeled. This is, in miniature, what happens at the scale of a courtroom or a TikTok video or a letter mailed to a cell on death row. The danger is real, the fear is real, and some part of the body, unable to tell one racing heart from another, quietly mistakes it for something closer to desire. Further, some of us are not merely tolerant of the sinner, we are drawn to him, specifically, sexually. There is a word for this, one most people have never heard until it's already too late to explain their own feelings. Hybristophilia, attraction, sexual and romantic, directed at people who have committed real, documented violence. Researchers have found it skews overwhelmingly toward women drawn to violent men, and it comes in two forms. One that stays at a distance, writing letters, sending devotion through prison mail, and a rarer, more dangerous kind that wants to participate. And this is not some fringe curiosity confined to a handful of strange case studies. It's the reason a man on death row for 30 murders got marriage proposals by the hundreds. It's the reason there was a word for the true crime groupie long before TikTok ever gave her a stage. Finally, we fantasize to tame the sinner, to finally be the ones to tame the untamable, to master what could not be mastered. What could be a thrill greater than having a great man down for you in your feet? Quote, "Among the rake's most seductive qualities is his ability to make women want to reform him. How many thought they would be the one to tame Lord Byron? How many of Picasso's women thought they would finally be the one with whom he would spend the rest of his life? The desire to reform him disguises the true nature of their desire, the secret thrill they get from him.